Xbox Game Pass is filled to the brim with amazing games, tons of which are packed with high-octane action, but sometimes you just want to kick back and relax. So today we're going to take a look at 10 games on Game Pass that'll help you unwind, starting with Slime Rancher. Yeah, this shirt isn't even red. In Slime Rancher, you'll explore a wonderfully colorful world packed with slimes, and much like the game's name would suggest, you have to ranch them. But that's not exactly rocket surgery. Wait. Armed with a backpack, a tool that allows you to suck in and shoot out various things in the game, it is up to you to operate a functioning slime ranch, where you'll farm slimes, feed slimes, combine slimes, eat slimes. Wait, scratch that last one. Tending to your slimes will extract their plorts, which can then be exchanged for the game's currency. With said currency, you can then purchase new buildings, upgrades for the backpack, explore slime science, and more. Oh, and there's an absolutely massive variety of slimes, by the way. You got pink ones, blue ones, gold ones, some with cat ears, some that hurt you, some that can go quantum and manipulate space and time. You get it, there's a lot of slime. It's not all as simple as it might seem though, with various different threats to your ranch revealing themselves as you play. If you would like a more carefree experience though, you can switch to the game's casual mode, where less threats are active. I find this game really entertaining, but if it isn't for you, then maybe a different approach to farming will be. It would be a sin to not include Stardew Valley on a list like this. In fact, I think it should be illegal. In Stardew Valley, you're given a farm by your granddad that is practically in ruins. Yeah, thanks a lot. But with a little love and care, you can transform it into something special. Wake up every morning, tend to your crops and animals, and befriend the townsfolk. If that all sounds familiar to you, it's either because you already know about this game, or because you played Harvest Moon, from which Stardew Valley draws heavy inspiration. I think everyone that has played both would agree though that Stardew Valley surpasses Harvest Moon in pretty much every way, adding tons of new content like fishing, which I've spent more time doing than I'd like to admit, and the mines, which include a basic but fun combat challenge. If you are like me though, you could argue that this game isn't relaxing. Bear with me for a moment. When I first started playing Stardew Valley, I got very overwhelmed by the sheer amount of things to do. The game runs on an in-game time system where certain things are only available at certain hours or only available during one of the 4 in-game seasons. This led me to get a bit stressed out about getting as much done as possible in as little time as possible. But I found that as long as I have an active goal in mind, the game is very relaxing. I also assume that if you don't struggle with that mindset and you just take each day as it comes, it would also be very relaxing. Anyway, let's move on to the next game, which is very different. XO1 is a short but sweet, alien craft flight simulator. It's hard to describe this game. You take control of the XO1, which has to traverse various planets throughout the universe with its gravitational shift and morphing abilities. You build up speed by pulling yourself towards the ground, trying to hit angles of the terrain below. Once you shoot off another bit of terrain, you can morph into a disc, which will help you travel further. XO1 also has a pretty cryptic story for you to uncover as you explore the universe. Combine all of this with an extremely immersive soundtrack, beautiful terrain, and excellent sound design, and you have this little gem of a game. If you're looking for something where you can just turn your brain off and relax, then this is for you. Do you like donuts? I like donuts. Here's a game called Donut County. Is it about donuts? Not really, more about the holes in donuts. I've said donuts too many times, haven't I? In said pastry county, you get to experience a silly story about the raccoon who plays a game on his phone where he controls a hole that grows as it swallows things on the ground. The catch? It's actually happening in real life. The game's real life, not this real life. Controlling the hole and watching things fall in is ridiculously satisfying. Sometimes something extra simple can be extra fun. Initially, swallowing objects is very straightforward, but as the game progresses, it starts to become a little bit more of a puzzle. Nothing crazy difficult or anything, but coupling the satisfaction of seeing things drop down a hole with the aha moment of figuring out how to get said object to drop makes it even more satisfying. The story of Donut County is also really entertaining, but I think that should be experienced blind. Another fun thing the game does is that after each level you get a list of which things dropped in your hole, which would be fun on its own, but is made better by the fact that the raccoon has left a hilarious description on each item that on several occasions had me laughing out loud. Short, sweet, satisfying, and fun. You really can't go wrong with this title. Like I was saying earlier, I've spent far too much time fishing in Stardew Valley, but it's only a small part of that game. So what if you took that concept and built an entire game around it? Well, then you would get Moonglow Bay. Another crazy cute title, where after losing your partner, your daughter convinces you to get back into the fishing trade. Explore the blocky sea while catching a variety of fish ranging from basic to just plain weird. Then cook it and sell it to the townsfolk. There is more to the game than meets the eye though, with mysterious sea creatures lurking about. Moonglow Bay didn't capture me to the extent that Stardew Valley has, but I have multiple friends who swear by this game, so I'd give it a shot if I was you. Next up, we've got one of the most amazing titles that I've ever had the pleasure of experiencing. The Artful Escape. And it is just that, an experience, more so than it is a game. In The Artful Escape, you play as Francis Vendetti, a young musician struggling with standing in the shadow of his dead folk music legend uncle. On the eve before Francis' first folk performance, he comes to realize that maybe he shouldn't try to be what people want him to be and just be himself instead. Folk music was never really his thing, you see. With the decision to create a completely new stage persona, Francis takes off into the depths of his imagination to explore his true potential. The Artful Escape and its psychedelic soul-searching adventure really touched me as I played. I could relate to a lot of what was happening in the game, and I'm sure that many of you could too. The soundtrack and visuals are some of the best I have ever seen or heard in a game. Definitely give this mind-boggling space opera a go. If you've ever played Journey and love it as much as I do, then I have another game that you'll probably fall for. Sable. You play as a young tribeswoman, aptly named Sable, in a world where technology seems to be scavenged. Sorta post-apocalyptic, I'd say. The game kicks off on the day of your gliding, an event that each tribe member goes through when they reach a certain age. This ceremony involves visiting a shrine and getting the ability to glide through the air. It also involves building a hoverbike for yourself, but we'll get to that. What's refreshing about Sable is that when a task is given to you, there is very little hand-holding involved. It is up to you to figure out where to go and how to get there. The game gives you tools to do this though, like this marker that you can use at a vantage point to make exploration a bit easier. The world and art style of Sable is what really captured me, but the writing is also great. I've really begun to care for the characters I've met so far. Once you've put together your hoverbike, you name it. In this world, the tribe does not see tech as objects, more as partners, which I really like. After this, it's time to head to your final gliding ceremony, where you get your very own tribe's mask. Upon returning to the tribe, they have left. The gliding ceremony is the part of each tribe member's life where they have to carve their own path. Left with just yourself and your hoverbike, what you do next is completely up to you. I am absolutely loving Sable so far, and I'm gonna get right back to playing it as soon as I'm finished with this video. The game does unfortunately suffer from a few frame rate issues, but I still wholeheartedly recommend it. Now, we've taken a look at a couple of life sims already in Stardew Valley and Moonglow Bay, but there is another, in My Time at Portia. It's almost as if life sims were designed to be relaxing. I know, who would have thought? My Time at Portia is pretty similar to Stardew Valley in its game design, but it does take a different approach to the main aspect of the game. While yes, you can farm in Portia, it's far from the biggest part of the game, which is instead crafting. In My Time at Portia, you take over your father's old workshop, in which you will have to craft progressively more complicated items, furniture, buildings, and more for yourself and the townsfolk. Just like in Stardew Valley, you also build relationships with the citizens of Portia as you play, which is very enjoyable. My Time at Portia also has a deeper combat system than Stardew. Not that I'd call it crazy deep or anything, but it's a fun romp nonetheless, with dungeons and bosses to take out. Just like Stardew Valley, My Time at Portia can be a little bit overwhelming at the start. But if you take each day as it comes, I'm sure you'll find a way to zen with it. Oh, what's next? Let me see here. Omno. I don't know how to describe it, but there really is something magical about the atmosphere of Omno. In this 3D puzzle platformer, you explore a breathtaking world using a bunch of fun movement mechanics that you unlock as you progress through the game. Each of these mechanics tie into the puzzles beautifully. You'll also encounter fantastical creatures on your journey, and these encounters are, for lack of a better word, majestic. Each area you explore has a visible completion percentage that I'm sure completionists out there will very much enjoy, especially since you can 100% complete each area the first time you visit it. Omno is a magical little journey that I urge you to go on. Have you ever wanted to guide spirits into the afterlife? Well, you're in luck because you're about to become the Spiritfarer. In Spiritfarer, you take control of Stella, who just became the new guide to the beyond, replacing Charon. Using your ship, you will travel across this in-between world, gathering souls and tending to their needs. On your ship, you will construct homes, gardens, farms, kitchens, and more, each tying back to that main goal of keeping your passengers pleased till they are ready to cross over. Once they are ready to cross over into the afterlife, you will guide them to the Everdoor for a final farewell. This game has phenomenal writing, and each spirit you help has an engaging backstory, which you uncover across your journey together. Spiritfarer is a wholesome but sometimes heartbreaking tale that deserves to be experienced. All of these games have a lot to offer, so I'm sure at least one of them is going to be right for you. Which one are you most excited to jump into? Let me know in the comments. If you're looking for more great games to play, you can check out this video here, and I'm sure you'll find something. I'll be making more of these lists, so if you don't want to miss out on those, then consider subscribing. I've been Nick Noir, and I'll see you all soon.